Hello everyone and welcome to this exciting session on chemical bonding and molecular structure. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating concept, resonance. This topic is crucial for understanding why molecules behave the way they do, especially in organic chemistry. We'll start with the basics, then move through medium, hard, and even hardest levels to prepare you thoroughly for GME. Let's embark on this journey of discovery together. Ready to uncover a molecular secret? Let's begin with the easy stuff about resonance. Imagine a molecule that a single drawing just can't quite capture. That's where resonance comes in. When one Lewis structure isn't enough to accurately describe a molecule's bonding, we use multiple structures, called resonance structures or canonical forms. These structures differ only in the placement of electrons, specifically pi electrons or lone pairs, not the atoms themselves. We connect them with a special double-headed arrow, symbolizing that the true structure isn't any one of them, but a blend. Think of it like trying to describe a mule. It's not a horse one moment and a donkey the next, but a hybrid of both. So, if resonance structures aren't the real molecule, what is? It's the resonance hybrid. This hybrid is the actual, true structure of the molecule, an average or blend of all the contributing resonance structures. The amazing thing is, this hybrid is always more stable than any single one of its theoretical resonance structures. The energy difference between the hybrid and the most stable contributing structure is called resonance energy, and it's a measure of this added stability. We often represent this delocalization of electrons in the hybrid using dashed lines. A classic example is the carbonate ion, where the double bond isn't fixed but shared among all three oxygen atoms. Now that we've grasped the basics, let's test your understanding with a few practice questions. Take a moment to think about these. First, what is the primary reason for a molecule to exhibit resonance? Second, which specific symbol is used to connect resonance structures? And finally, try your hand at drawing the resonance structures for the nitrate ion, NO3. Pause the video if you need more time, and remember to focus on electron movement. Feeling confident? Great! Let's now elevate our understanding of resonance to the medium level, exploring deeper concepts. For a molecule to exhibit resonance, certain conditions must be met. Firstly, it needs a conjugated system, that means alternating single and multiple bonds, or a lone pair of electrons or a positive charge adjacent to a pi bond. Secondly, the atoms involved must be planar or nearly planar. This allows for effective overlap of the p orbitals, which is essential for electron delocalization. Importantly, during resonance, only electrons move, never the atomic nuclei. The total number of electron pairs, both bonding and non-bonding, remains constant across all resonance structures. These conditions ensure that the pi electrons or lone pairs can truly spread out, leading to increased stability. When drawing resonance structures, we follow specific rules to ensure they're valid and meaningful. Every structure you draw must be a legitimate Lewis structure. Crucially, the positions of the atomic nuclei must never change, only the electrons shift. If there are any unpaired electrons, their number must remain consistent across all forms. To judge stability, remember that structures with more covalent bonds are generally more stable. Also, minimize formal charges and avoid separating opposite charges. If charges are present, place negative charges on more electronegative atoms and positive charges on less electronegative ones. These rules help us identify the most significant contributors to the resonance hybrid. One of the most important concepts related to resonance is resonance energy. This is the energy difference between the actual molecule, the resonance hybrid, and its most stable contributing canonical structure. A higher resonance energy signifies greater stability for the molecule due to electron delocalization. Resonance helps explain many observed phenomena, For instance, why all carbon-carbon bonds in benzene are equal and intermediate in length between single and double bonds. It also accounts for the unusual stability of molecules like carboxylic acids and benzene, and influences the acidity or basicity of compounds by stabilizing their conjugate bases or acids. It's a powerful tool in a chemist's arsenal. Time to solidify your understanding of these medium-level concepts. Here are 5 questions for you. First, list 2 essential conditions for a molecule to exhibit resonance. Second, explain why the carbon-carbon bond lengths in benzene are all equal. Third, draw the resonance structures for the carboxylate ion. Fourth, define resonance energy and explain its relationship to molecular stability. And finally, how do you identify the most stable or major contributor among different resonance structures? Give these your best shot. Excellent! You're building a strong foundation. Now, let's tackle the hard level, where we'll explore more intricate aspects of resonance. Resonance isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. Electron delocalization can occur in several distinct ways. We have pi-pi conjugation, where alternating single and double bonds allow pi electrons to delocalize, as seen in 1,3-butadiene. Then there's p-pi conjugation, involving a lone pair on an atom adjacent to a pi bond, like in vinyl chloride. We also encounter positive charge pi conjugation, where a carbocation is next to a pi bond, stabilizing it, as in an allyl carbocation. Similarly, a negative charge pi conjugation involves a carbanion adjacent to a pi bond. Each type of conjugation contributes uniquely to the overall stability and reactivity of the molecule by spreading out electron density. Understanding the relative stability of different resonance structures is key to predicting a molecule's true character. The most stable structures contribute more to the resonance hybrid. Several factors guide this. Structures where all atoms have complete octets are generally the most stable. More covalent bonds also lead to greater stability. Minimizing charge separation is crucial. Structures with fewer separated charges are preferred. Also, negative charges are more stable on more electronegative atoms, and positive charges on less electronegative ones. Finally, avoid placing like charges on adjacent atoms, and favor opposite charges on adjacent atoms. By applying these rules rigorously, you can accurately assess the significance of each resonance contributor. Resonance is deeply intertwined with several other fundamental chemical theories and phenomena. A prime example is aromaticity. Aromatic compounds, like benzene, exhibit extraordinary stability due to extensive cyclic delocalization of a specific number of pi electrons, governed by Huckel's rule. Resonance is the very essence of this aromatic character. Furthermore, resonance plays a critical role in stabilizing reactive intermediates such as carbocations and carbanions, thereby dictating reaction pathways and rates. It also explains the enhanced acidity of compounds like phenols and carboxylic acids by stabilizing their conjugate bases. In electrophilic aromatic substitution, resonance beautifully accounts for the directing effects of substituents. Its implications are vast and fundamental to organic chemistry. You've navigated some complex concepts. Now, let's test your analytical skills with these 7 challenging questions. Differentiate between pi-pi conjugation and p-pi conjugation with examples. Order carbocations by stability using resonance. Explain phenol's acidity compared to cyclohexanol. Draw resonance structures for nitrobenzene. Apply Huckel's rule to cyclotetraene. Analyze resonance's impact on bond order in CO2. And finally, predict the major resonance contributor for the enolate of acetone. Take your time, these require careful thought. Excellent work getting this far. Now, for the ultimate challenge, the hardest level, where we'll delve into the most advanced aspects of resonance, perfect for G-main aspirants. Quantifying resonance energy isn't straightforward. Experimentally, it's often determined by comparing the observed heat of hydrogenation or combustion of a conjugated system with a hypothetical, non-conjugated analog. For example, benzene's resonance energy is approximately 150 kJ-mol, indicating significant stabilization compared to a hypothetical non-conjugated cyclohexatriene. However, this method has limitations. Theoretical values are estimates, and factors like solvent effects, steric hindrance, or ring strain can influence measurements. More sophisticated computational methods, such as isodesmic reactions, aim to provide more accurate values. Understanding these quantitative aspects is crucial for predicting thermodynamic stability and reaction outcomes in advanced chemistry. While Lewis structures and resonance forms are useful conceptual tools, molecular orbital (MO) theory offers a more accurate and fundamental description of resonance. In MO theory, instead of electrons oscillating between fixed positions, they exist in delocalized molecular orbitals that span across multiple atoms. These delocalized pi orbitals are formed by the linear combination of atomic p orbitals, allowing electrons to spread out over the entire conjugated system. This delocalization leads to a lowering of the overall electronic energy of the molecule, which is precisely what we define as resonance stabilization. MO theory naturally accounts for fractional bond orders and the uniform electron distribution observed in resonance hybrids, providing a robust theoretical framework. Resonance is particularly fascinating in heteroaromatic compounds, which are cyclic systems containing heteroatoms like nitrogen, oxygen, or sulfur within the aromatic ring. Examples include pyridine, pyrrole, furan, and thiophene. The key lies in how the heteroatom's lone pair interacts with the ring's pi system. In pyrrole, the nitrogen's lone pair is part of the aromatic 4n+2 pi system, contributing to aromaticity, which makes pyrrole less basic as the lone pair is delocalized. In contrast, pyridine's nitrogen lone pair is in an sp2 orbital lying in the plane of the ring, not part of the aromatic system, making pyridine basic. These differences in electron delocalization profoundly influence their reactivity patterns, especially towards electrophilic substitution, and their basicity. Understanding these nuances is critical for advanced organic chemistry. It's important to distinguish resonance from hyperconjugation and also understand the limitations of resonance theory. Hyperconjugation, often called no-bond resonance, involves the delocalization of sigma electrons from CH or C to C bonds into an adjacent empty p orbital or a pi orbital. While both stabilize molecules, resonance involves pi or lone pair electrons, making it generally a stronger effect. As for limitations, resonance theory is a conceptual model. The molecule doesn't actually oscillate between structures. It's a static description, less suited for dynamic processes or excited states. Also, it assumes planarity for effective overlap. Despite these limitations, resonance remains an incredibly powerful qualitative tool for predicting and explaining a vast array of chemical phenomena, from molecular geometry to reactivity and stability. Alright, let's tackle the first 5 of our ultimate challenge questions. These require a deep understanding and critical thinking. How is the experimental resonance energy of benzene determined, and what are its limitations? Explain resonance from a molecular orbital theory perspective, focusing on delocalized orbitals. Compare and contrast pyridine and pyrrole's aromaticity and basicity. Distinguish resonance and hyperconjugation with examples. And finally, discuss the limitations of resonance theory. Pause and ponder each one carefully. Now for the final 5 questions, pushing your knowledge to the limits. Predict the relative stability of nitrophenol and p-nitrophenol using resonance. Explain why enols are less stable than keto-tautomers, yet 1,3-decarbonyl compounds show significant enol content. Draw resonance structures for the phenoxide ion and explain its stronger basicity than an alkoxide. How does pi electron delocalization affect bond lengths and rotational barriers in conjugated dienes? And lastly, design an experiment to compare the resonance energy of furan versus thiophene. These questions will truly test your mastery of resonance. And that concludes our comprehensive journey through resonance, from the fundamental concepts to advanced applications for GME. We've covered a vast landscape, equipping you with the knowledge to ace this topic. Remember, practice is key, so revisit these concepts and questions. For more such in-depth content and to continue your learning adventure, head over to synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more amazing chemistry lessons. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep aiming for success. See you in the next session.